This review brought to you by Massaging Seats.
Hey, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're going to do a shaky cam interior walkthrough in a 2020 BMW X7. So this is the big SUV, the big 3-row from Bimmer. It's beautiful. This happens to be the M series, which means, hopefully this pick it up, engine growl. So if you're seeing breath come out of my mouth, it's because it is really cold. It's 19 degrees outside, up from balmy 4 degrees this when the sun came up. And I literally just started the engine, so this is not warm at all. And because I'm recording, I have to turn off the climate, otherwise it gets too loud in here. So, but I do have bun warmers and a jacket. I do live in Wyoming, so if you're laughing or wondering what kind of nutcase doesn't wear a big heavy winter coat in 19-degree weather, I live in Wyoming. This is normal. All right, so let's get started. I'll just do a general walkthrough. I just did a X6, which literally published this morning. So you'll see this one pretty quickly, and kind of a follow-up. So this is a much higher, more expensive trim level than that X6 was. So it had a lot of similarities. The dashboard looks a lot the same, a lot of other things, but very different as well, because it is much, like I said, a much higher trim level. Therefore, well, there you go. So I'll show you the Monroney here. This is what the price tag is on this as outfitted, and then down below you'll see, for comparison, I'll just put the total price for that X6 that I also did. Just, you know, as an FYI, I guess. I think when you're getting into this category of vehicle, the price tag gets less and less important. So, anyway, here we go. Let's get started on this. So, you'll see right off the bat similarities. Here's the rear seating. So this was not in the other car, you can see. So you can move the rear seats. Whoops. Let me actually point the camera at what I'm doing. Yeah, brilliant. All right, we got professional level standards at this place. All right. So here you go. And then here's the seat memories. Here is the, you can use this to change over to that seat, and then the seat controls will move that seat instead. So driver can control the passenger seat, which is, it sounds really dumb until you have it, and then you realize how convenient it is. This is the rear hatch. So you open and close it, push and pull, right? And then over here, you can see side mirrors right here. This folds them in. This selects which one. This moves them around. Here's all the windows on the car, truck, SUV, whatever. Over here is the window locks. This is the shades. So this runs the rear shades. So on the rear doors, there are shades that come up and help with the sunlight, I guess. There's also controls for these in the back seats. So the back seat passenger can do it themselves individually. You could do all of them at once with that. And if you lock this, it also locks those rear shades. So just as an FYI. Now, door locks here, door handle there. Going this way, let's start with the lighting. So if you remember from the X6, this is exactly the same setup. Really easy to use. It gets very intuitive very quickly. So you have your fog lamps here. You turn everything off here. This is auto for the headlights and running lights. This moves the dims the lights a little bit, drops them down, sort of drops them down. It dims them a little bit, so they're not as bright in somebody's face. If you're driving like in the city or something, you have a lot of ambient light from street lights and such, and you don't want those bright LEDs shining in people's faces. Over here is the or when you're pulling into the driveway trying to be nice, I guess. Over here is the dimmers. Down here you can see you got side lights, marker lights and whatnots, and running lights. Down there is, you pull that twice and it pops the hood. So pretty neat. It's a BMW thing. You can see the M badge on that dead pedal there. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful sport pedals, nice pedals in this. I like the way they feel. Everything just feels right. And amazingly, in this SUV, you can heel toe drive if you know what that is and you're into it. Bowers and Wilkins, by the way. Okay, now to the steering wheel. To the steering wheel, Batman. Over here we've got all your speed stuff. So cruise control and speed limiting. So you can use this to limit. This is a little bit different layout than in the other car. So you can use this to limit your speed. So it makes basically a cap for your speed, so you can stay under a speed limit if you're tired of getting tickets. You can override it pretty easily, but it's there. Over here, reset and cancel, set. This is lane keeping. So this has lane keeping assist and alert. And you can do them individually. So you can just do lane keeping with no alert. You can do just an alert, no lane keeping. Did I say what model this is? X7 M50i. Yeah, you saw it on the Monroney. Over here is the mode. So unlike the mode you would normally see that means you're changing your stereo inputs, this is actually the drive mode for the vehicle. So you can activate the different types of modes for this using that. So it's not like the vehicle drive modes. I said that wrong. It's actually the modes for the safety systems. So I'll show you some of those on the screen when we're looking at the what do you call that, instrument cluster. Over here is infotainment controls for the most part. So you have volume here, up and down, and select back and forth here. So this mostly jumps tracks, and this moves up and down menus. This is your telephone stuff. I like to say telematics because I like the word, but it's not actually telematics. That's a different thing, but I like saying it anyway. Telematics is a emergency safety system like the SOS button that you push to call. Anyway, but whatever. Over here is voice activation. So you can use this to activate the infotainment and whatnot, or you can just talk to it. I'll show you how that works in a little bit when we get to the infotainment. This pops up the menus in the driver information screen. Again, I'll show you that in a minute. Here you got some paddle shifters over here, and they are attached to the steering wheel, which is great. Over here you got your washer wipers. So you twist this side. Once that turns on the rear, push it back. It's on a spring loaded, push it back, and it runs the washers in the back. And then up and down for up here. So right now it's in the opposition. If I move it up into the auto, that was loud because there's ice on the windshield. Probably shouldn't have done that. Anyway, you see the auto turns on, and then you can see what the other settings are. And then using this toggle, which only toggles on the front, by the way, it is on the back, but you can't, there's no grippy like this little thing. That sets the speed basically. Over here you have some other stuff, mostly lighting. So you got signal turns up and down, back and forth for those brights right there. You can see it. This is for the automatic high beams. So this runs the high beams here. And BC, I forget what that stands for, something to do with the computer. But this just basically changes the menus going on right there. Again, I will show you more of that right now, actually, because here we are. So you see those lights? Visually, when you're driving, like me sitting here, if I don't look through the camera, I can't see those lights. Those are what watch your face and decide whether or not you're looking at the road or screwing around, checking Facebook or something. So there you go. But normally, just be aware, normally you can see nothing through there. It's the camera lens picking that up. There is also a head-up display in this. I won't show you that because you can't see through the windshield at this moment, but it's just like it was in the other car. Over here is your tachometer. Down here is whatever decides to change on the computer. So we'll just run through those really quick. Here is your trip counter. Here is your meters for horsepower and pound-feet. So you can see if I push that down, give it some revs, you can see those change a little bit. That's kind of a cool thing just to watch. This is more fun to watch. This is a G meter. So if you're hitting the corner, slamming the brakes, accelerating as fast as you can, which is
honestly the most fun part. And this will, the little dot moves around and shows you what you're doing. This is what's on the radio right now. Slayer. I'll keep from saying the F-bomb for that. Sorry. I know it's tradition. You're supposed to, but not. All right, and this is what gear and stuff you're in. And the drive mode. So you see it was in comfort mode. I'll show you how to change those drive modes. And then here is average miles per gallon and stuff. So this is the real time. This is the average. You remember this is a big, beefy 8-cylinder engine. It's not made for fuel economy. Right now the start stop is off. That's purely because the engine is not yet warm and we are in very, very cold weather. If you go into sport mode, it also automatically shuts off the start stop. I will show you the button to manually control that later. Over here is your maps. You can change this in the infotainment or driver information. So over there, there's no menus, but over here there are. You can change what's showing there by doing that. So you can see, if I push that button I was showing you before, it doesn't do anything right now. I don't know why. So I'll just cut that bit out. Over here, you see you got speed, right? 160 miles an hour might sound really, really optimistic, but holy crap, I'm pretty sure this car could do that. This is a big, beefy SUV with a giant engine that makes really, really nice noises. This is your digital speedometer. Again, you can change that. This is mostly customizable all through here. Use your infotainment to make those changes, FYI. Over here is the fuel. So you can see how much fuel there is and how much is left. That's about how much you have on the current tank at your current driving. There's the time, etc. The speed sign shown right there, that is read off of a camera which is positioned right above the rear view mirror. So that's what you got right there. Going this way, I was going to show you the on-off button, and then I realized, yeah, that's not over there. But you do want to know where this is. This is the RFID for the key. So if you have the key and for whatever reason, like maybe the remote, the battery's dead or something, you can hold it up here and it will still let you start the car and stuff. Useful info to know. And then over on this side, I failed to show, this has the electronic steering wheel, steering column adjustments. So you just use this up, down, back, forth, etc. Now let's go over here. So Bowers and Wilkins. Booyah. All right. Right here, this is kind of like the main menu screen for the BMW infotainment. You're basically looking at nav, radio, and whatever your phone is doing, or communication device if you have one. Mine is not connected. I turned it off so that I could record this, because I learned that BMW records audio through the Bluetooth speakers, and that sounds like a great thing until you are in video production and realize that it sounds really tinny by comparison. So there you go. Anyway, there is a command knob down here, and I'll show you how that works a little bit more in a minute. But basically, right now I got it going, and you can see I'm paging through the menus. There is a slight delay occasionally, especially if it's just been sitting for a while, before it shows whatever your input was. So right there, I just turned the knob and nothing happened, and then there you go. After, you get used to that happening, so after a while it's not such a big deal. You can move the knob back and forth to select what you're working with as well, and push it up and down, or push it down to select things. That's the basic operation of this whole shindig. Also, you can say, hey BMW. Hey BMW.
Good morning. What can I help you with?
What time is it?
It is 9:36 a.m.
So you can talk just directly to the car. I didn't have to push any buttons. I didn't have to do anything. I just said the key phrase. You can also Alexa enable this. Same difference. But honestly, the BMW, unless you need to connect to your home or something, the BMW is pretty awesome. You just talk straight at it. So you do have to say it loud and clear, but it does work over the radio, I've noticed. So if I have the radio blasting, and you can see, what kind of music I'm into, so you know that it's not quiet. Now, coming down here,
first off, you got your Dukes lights. Here you got your parking sensor, radars, etc., whatever's. Over here are the main vents in the cabin, in the front of the cabin. Very, very efficient. They don't look very big, but they put out some serious air. You can individually control them with these, and back and forth and up and down. Over here I got my bun warmers on. Here I got, this would be the defrost for the front, defrost for the rear, defrost with toasty toes, so you can run your defrost and have some hot air blowing on your feet. This is the automatic climate, so you just hit that and it automates. The two sides are individual. So if I do it here right now, I'm in sync. So because they're synced, I can just hit this and it turns everything on. But if the passenger decides to turn that off, then it only turns that side off, and then they can either leave it off or manually set temperatures and fan speed right here. And then to turn everything off, you can hold this down or just turn that side off holding this down. So kind of a cool setup. I really like it. Also, these are cooled seats. So you can see it says it's warm, and then if I do this, pops up, I can go to cooled, right? So if I want the cooled seats, I can go up there and do it. Ditto with the passenger. Really kind of cool. And then if you need a climate menu, the center button does that. Now, down here, this is radio controls. You see you got your mode for wherever you want to get it. Band, same difference. Over here, you got your volume, push it in and out to mute. Over here, channel presets, and this jumps back and forth between tracks and or channels. Down here, I'll move this little water. You got your beautiful bougie cover. So you remember in the X6, this was all carbon fiber, like a faux carbon fiber. In here, it's this beautiful wood grain. Just a wonderful look. And then you can see that's lit up red. That's because I have the heater on. See, that's got heating and cooling. So this is a frozen bottle. I'm just seeing if I can warm it up. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's neat. Under there, you got a wireless charger. You can drop your phone in there. It's rubberized, wireless charging. Good size. It doesn't look very big, but you can get a giant phone in there. And then you have a plug in case that's not working. Over here, you got a 12 volt, and it's Americanized 12 volt. There is no cigarette lighter on it. And then heated and cooled on this one too. You control it just using those buttons there. Really neat. Now, let's look at this stuff. It's going to be a little hard to get because piano black is very reflective. So I'll have to do some manual shading. But so this crystal shifter, this is really neat. It looks cool, right? It's really just plastic, but it looks really cool. So over here, we got traction control. Then we have the cameras. So you can turn this on, cameras pop up there. You got a 360-degree view around the car. This looks like a parking sensors button, but it's actually the self-parking. So when you want the car to park, to help you park into a parallel spot or whatever, the SUV I should say, then there you go, you push that. Here is the automatic stop-start for the engine. It's right there. Down here are your drive modes. So here's the start button to start the engine and shut it off. Down here's drive mode. Sport mode, which turns off the automatic stop-start and really opens up the pipes for some good sound. Just sounds really good with that. Comfort mode right here. Eco Pro. And then you have your adaptive and auto H. So adaptive allows the car to go between basically these three modes as it needs to. So it's sort of like a smart mode or automatic mode. Auto H is basically a hill hold, and then here you have your parking brake. Pull it, set it, push it to release it. I didn't set it when I stopped. That's funny. I had to pull it around into the shade so I could do this. Over here is hill descent control, and then this is ride height. So hopefully you can just see that. You can see where it is, and this is kind of the default position. You can use this to raise and lower. So if you want to lower the vehicle, so it's easier to get in and out, there you go. You see I pushed the button and it started lowering. It's just sucking down those dampers. Pretty cool. Over here is your main control for the infotainment screen up there. So this is the knob I was moving around. You move it back and forth, you push it to select. You have your hard buttons up here. So you got media, home, map, communications, globe, which is basically apps, and navigation right there. Back and an option button over here. and then you can write in stuff on here. So if you're in navigation and you're looking for an address, you can write it in here, one letter and or number at a time. So, you know, I did that leaving the airport because I was at a parking lot that I had never been in before, and I didn't know the fastest way to get out of there. So I used this. I just put in my home address and then used it, and then once I was out on the highway and I knew where I was, I just canceled the nav, which is easy to do because you can literally just talk to it. Such a cool feature. All right, so that's basically the controls in here, and looking at the dash, you can see it's very similar to what we had in the X6. This is wood instead of carbon fiber, but it's otherwise the same design, same material, really good looking. I love this brown, the leather that they've got, you know, so you got black leather, you got brown, and then you got the brushed to kind of the brushed metals to kind of offset all of that. The speakers look beautiful, really, really nicely done. This is great. And then the seating is awesome. So you see the seats here. This leather is just great. The bolsters are adjustable. This moves back and forth, just, you know, for your thigh, and just a wonderful design. It feels really good. Storage is good too, because this is a big SUV. So you see down in there, this is spare parts that came off from the back. Down here you got a rubberized bottom. Here you got a USB-C for fast charging. There's a little LED right here. And then, like most BMWs, these shuttle bay doors open individually. So if I have my arm on the armrest, passenger pops it open, they can open just their side, dig around, do their thing. And just wonderful. Hi, other camera. I didn't mean to show a competing product over there. Not really competing, but another manufacturer. So I have one of the back third row seats open, up. Kids have been using that. The other one's down for cargo. The other one is the wider of the two seats. There is 3 across in the very back if you really, really need it. And then these captain's chairs, just wonderful captain's chairs. Great vehicle. Lots of space in this. Tons of cargo, lots of, it's just a nicely designed and done vehicle. Has this panoramic sunroof and all of that. Just a well done, nice driving. Very tight suspension when you have it in sport mode. Suspension gets tight, the engine growls wonderfully, it's a great drive. So that's it. That's what I got. This has been Aaron on autos.com, sitting in the BMW X7 in its M50i. Such a great setup. All right, talk to you again soon.
Subscribe.